stuff.
You're good. I just want to make sure that I set up the audio right. It's fine. All right.
Right.
And
Awesome.
going live in 3, 2, 1. And we're live!
Holy
Countdown
hell.
skills are improving, Zach.
Yeah.
We did it,
We're getting better at
everybody!
this.
Yeah. It only took us however many years.
The entire show. It's fine.
I'm just
It's
gonna
fine.
have an expression of repressed judgment the entire AMA.
Repressed judgment. I'm going to bring up our microphone before we get too far into this. But also, hello, everybody. I see
Repressed
Marina
judgment.
Vermillion, Rashu Rao, Bobby R, Anna Poulton. Wow, so many familiar, friendly faces. This is great.
Hooray.
Welcome to our first Patreon AMA of the new year.
Yeah.
I'm Gabriel Urbina. I wrote Wolf 359. I produced Wolf 359. Back when Wolf 359 was a thing that we still did.
Yeah.
Instead
Back
of
in the when we all had jobs.
we all had jobs. That's right.
I'm Sarah Shackett. I wrote and produced the show.
I'm Zach. I run the live stream, and then I do some other things.
He still
Yeah.
has a job. It's great.
We mostly just think of him as Dr. Disco these days.
Oh,
Mm.
Jesus.
And
Not
yeah,
wrong. Not
and
wrong.
we are here to answer all of your questions. This is called Ask Me Anything, Ask Us Anything, I guess. So you can ask
No,
us
it's only
about-
him.
Only me.
So, Gabrielle, how
Uh-huh.
do you say your name backwards?
Learbag.
Had that one ready to go.
God damn, how about with Urbina?
No.
You can ask. You can't get
Ah,
answered anything.
Yeah, right.
Anibru? Something like that?
That's
Learbag
better than I
Anibru?
would have
don't know,
done.
yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Fortunately, my names are like very like steady alternations of consonants and vowels, so it's
Yes.
easier than with some names.
Right.
Yeah. So, shall we get started?
Let's get
Oh,
started.
wait. What about our spoiler warning?
Spoiler warning!
Yeah.
I suppose we should still do those.
Yes. If
Uh,
you are watching and you have not finished the series and watched the live show and the mini episodes, like if there was some part of the show that you were saving as a snack
For later.
you know, in case
Yeah.
of emergencies.
Yeah, so
Very
like,
admirable of you.
there was a show that we did. There's a lot of things in it
Oh.
that, if
We're
heard
gonna
out of order, might
spoil.
ruin your experience.
That's right.
If you were not caught up with the things that we did on the internet.
And when you say caught up, you mean finished.
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
have consumed all of those things, you might have them ruined today.
Yes. Unless you don't care, in which case,
Great.
power to you.
Yeah.
And as always, guys, we have a bunch of questions. Thank you guys so much for sending us things. As always, the quality and the quantity of the questions is absolutely amazing. If more things pop into your mind, put them in the chat. Chat Dr. Zach is going to be minding the chat and looking out for questions. But the chat books pretty quickly.
It moves quickly. So if you just keep putting it in the chat, we'll keep looking. You'll keep putting it in the chat, and eventually, hopefully, we will get your question.
And if things don't sound or look well,
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
We're
Yeah.
monitoring. I got the chat up in like 3 different windows.
much chat.
Yeah,
Madness.
yeah, this should be great. So first question, let's just dive right in.
Awesome.
In the April AMA, you said that you'll answer this question after the show is over, Gabrielle. So, what is each character's major flaw?
oh, poverty. Yeah.
Poverty
they're
is a
all,
flaw?
They're all poor people. That is their...
Poverty in what
Sorry.
sense? In-
No, that is
in
a
their
joke.
souls?
That is a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, that may have me saying that like I would answer this
I
question
gotta
in
get
April
like
may have been a
drum sounds. I can go da-dun-ch.
yeah, really. That may have been a clever deflection. I don't know that we've ever sort of been the kind of writers who think of it as like
No.
each one of them has a like specific flaw.
Sorry, now I'm just thinking
You
about
know-
my soundboard.
We talk more about them being bad people or like
Yeah.
wounded people or deficient people in sort of a broad general sense without identifying one specific flaw. We talk about their contradictions more than I think we talk about their flaws.
Here might be the thing that I meant back in April. Back when the show began, we sort of had an articulation of what the four main characters' arcs were
Yes.
and what they were missing. And they're complementary with each other, as in
By design.
by design, yes. Eiffel's sort of shortcoming is that he is trying. He is in a situation that calls for extreme discipline and extreme protocol and extreme, just like absolute dedication to the letter of the law due to what a, precarious situation it is.
And not
he
necessarily like the letter of the law, but just like his job and like his commitment to what he is doing.
Right. And he is insisting that it is a situation that can be solved with silliness, that can be solved with levity, that can be solved with sort of this like gung-ho chill attitude.
Yeah, and that he doesn't have to take himself seriously.
Whereas Minkowski's shortcoming is that she's dealing with a situation that has gone so far past the points where protocol and discipline and just like the manual can account for it. But she still treats everything like if you just stick to the, prescribed rules, they're going to get you through them. And hilariously, it's both. The situation is both of those, but they're each sort of like coming at it in their own wrong ways. And the kind of ultimate realization of it that we took to kind of a cartoony extreme in the finale is that, Eiffel, he needs to be a little bit less Doug and a little bit more communications officer Eiffel. And Minkowski needs to be a little bit less Lieutenant Commander Minkowski and a little bit more Renee. They kind of each need to get in touch with either their professional protocol side or their sort of human empathetic sides, respectively.
Right.
And meanwhile, Hera and Hilbert went on journeys of both seeing themselves as somewhat above the people in their surroundings. Of kind of, both in their own respective ways have...
Seeing the people around them as limited.
Yeah. And I would say that one of them has a loud superiority complex and a quiet inferiority complex. And one of them has a loud inferiority complex and a quiet superiority complex. And sort of their journeys are about either their eventual getting to the point where they can see themselves as an equal to the people around them, or their inability and their unwillingness to do so.
Right, and then there's the plant monster who's perfect and did nothing wrong.
Yes, exactly.
That is true.
It was too good to live, too pure.
Which is why we killed it.
That's right.
Rest in peace, Specimen 34.
Just one at a nightlight.
That's right.
That's all.
Any more on flaws?
We didn't have sort of like as
clear pictures for
yeah. The other ones we kind of
DSM-5.
had like a little bit more of an intuitive understanding of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the understanding we have of the four main characters got sort of intuitive and unsaid as we went along. What happens to Hera does touch on sort of her feelings of inferiority and superiority, but her arc ended up being way less about that than we originally thought it would be.
Likewise, I could think that you can make an argument that Maxwell and Jacoby's journeys are all about one person is so determined to seem nice and personable while deep down having something that is very clearly monstrous and very clearly cold.
Yes.
Whereas the other one is very intent on presenting as monstrous while actually having kind of a like live wire of raw emotion inside of them. And they each sort of have to kind of
bring out that interior thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kepler just wants to drink, man.
And
he has so many reasons to want to drink.
Music.
Yeah. He has to walk away.
And Kepler is in sort of like a similar position to, I think, Hera and Hilbert.
Yes.
He has to kind of reckon with the fact that he is not actually in control of situations, and he has to kind of find ways to either deal with that or let go of the need to have control.
Yeah. No, all of the villains and are sort of dealing with issues of control and issues of either ceding some of that control to respect other people and their choices or not.
Right.
And that's always sort of like the XY axis that they find themselves on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as articulated in Change of Mind, Loveless is kind of on a similar journey to Eiffel of kind of needing to sort of recognize the value and the perspective of the people around her, with kind of like the twist of she is someone that is in a position of imposing her viewpoint on other people, whereas Eiffel isn't.
Right.
But they're both on kind of journeys of recognizing empathy and recognizing perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, including their own.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's as
That was an answer, you
thorough
guys.
an answer
That
as
was
you're going to get on that.
That was a pretty important question. But
Yeah.
was it an extremely important question? I think not, because it didn't literally say extremely important in the box.
I don't think
that
we're
I'm
going to
reading
answer
right
any
now.
questions that say extremely important, right, Zach?
No.
I think we're just going to not.
Well, then let's pretend that I didn't just say that this one says that.
So what did you
because
say? I'm sorry,
Kepler-
the connection is bad.
Verse Loveless,
Uh-huh.
chess boxing. Who wins?
Ooh.
Well, this gets to the question of...
What is chess boxing? Let's explain.
No.
You explain, Zach. You seem
Please,
so
well,
excited.
please. You seem so excited to explain
I'm
what
pretty
chess
sure
boxing
it's
is.
where you make one move in a chess game and then you hit each other like boxing.
Yes.
You play a certain number of moves, and then you play a round of boxing, and then you play a certain amount of moves in chess, and you play a
Then you
certain
play another round of
This is the
boxing.
most well-matched chess boxing run of, except for maybe the big bads, maybe Cutter and Price.
Cutter and Price.
Oh,
Wow.
they would never.
But that would also like potentially take down humanity with them in a way
Right, I
that
was
Kepler
gonna-
and Loveless would keep it self-contained.
I was gonna say, like, you know, like, Price and Cutter actually get into a fist fight. I think that, like, the Colosseum gets demolished.
Yeah.
Like, you know, no survivors due to the, like, crumbling of the arena around them.
Yes.
Well, see, I don't know if I can answer this, though, because if we just sort of say one or the other, that may perhaps give an answer to whether Kepler intentionally let Loveless win in
Yes, that is what I was going to say.
in episode 32 in Controlled Demolition, which I never want to do. I never want to sort of have a like strict answer on like, you know, did he let her win or did she win on her own merits.
Jeez.
It would be an
So-
incredibly even match at both parts of that sport.
But tell you what, let's like just to not be a total spoil sport, just like straight up boxing match. Who would win?
I like Mitzrayim's quote in the chat. Loveless would win the boxing. Kepler would win the chess.
I do think that I do think that
Yeah,
Loveless would
that-
win the boxing
She would win the boxing.
because she wants it more.
This is true. This is at the end of the day.
I love this man.
At the end of the
And this
day.
woman. Wait, where are you, Sarah? You're somewhere over here, technically.
Sure, why not?
On the screen. There's a great YouTube video. You should all like
And by
leave this
great-
screen right
No,
now and go
it's
look
not
on how to
great.
fight a bear. Because at the end of the day, it's whoever wants it more.
If anybody's really curious, How to Fight a Bear by Video Jug, it is not a good video, but it is
No.
also a masterpiece of Dadaist filmmaking.
It is also the best video on YouTube.
And it's
And it has
just like
caused-
done a number to our psyches.
We
all of
quote
us.
we quote that video approximately 4 times a day whenever we see
It's
each other.
Because we want it more.
That's right.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to. What's great about this fight is it is you have to treat it like a life or death scenario.
Situation like if
Like
you were
you're
getting
being
attacked by a bear.
Oh, holy shit.
All right, next question. Let's keep before we just
That
evolve.
went. Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Put your questions in the chat if you have questions.
Yes, please.
Did y'all, Lauren Shippen and Misha Stanton, plan to ruin our lives by ending all at the same time? Because my heart can't take
Yes.
this.
Yes,
we
we
did.
did. We had a meeting. We like
Yes,
set our
over-
Dakota rings. to Omega.
Right, and then we knew to meet on our tin can phones that cross
Yes.
the country.
So
Right.
I will say
So-
I'll say this much. There wasn't an evil plan to all end
There
at the
was
same
not.
time. We have in the past consulted with each other on our schedules,
Yes.
just to make sure that certain things were not going to get released on like the very same day.
Yes.
As
So
other folks, yeah.
no, we do talk to them. We do sort of like try to make sure that we know what the other person is doing. But this particular time, it wasn't an evil plan.
No, and I think it's telling that sort of 3-4 years tends to be the lifespan of certain kinds of projects, and Wolf
Yep.
59, Ars Paradoxica, and Bright Sessions, I think all have very different shows, but all have sort of similar ambitions and similar sort of narrative intensity to them.
And similar rhythms in some ways.
Yes.
Yes.
We're excited for how they're going to end. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
And I think that one of the things that we love about Misha and about Lauren as storytellers is that they kind of share our go big or go home ethos.
Teach them how to say goodbye.
Yeah, and there's only so much that you can go hard before it's just like, and now everything has been pulverized. The story
Yeah.
is done.
Yeah. What happened to Mr. Clark after the events of Voltfas?
Ah,
He's probably running the company now.
probably. If like
And if
Rachel
somebody
didn't,
and if somebody earned it.
it is David Clark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if Rachel didn't slit his throat and leave him in a ditch somewhere, that he's probably running Goddard.
Right.
Right, whatever doesn't kill you.
You kind of have to assume that it's one or the other.
There's not really in between.
He was either a casualty of Rachel clawing her way to the top of the special projects division, or
She's the
he was
tool of
basically
that.
the person that was like, when Cutter left, he was the one that was like, here are the keys, keep like
Yeah.
the light on
Water
while
the
we're-
plants.
exactly
Yeah.
the evil plants.
with employee blood.
Yes.
Absolutely. Intern blood.
At Sarah,
Sure.
from Rhinoceros Rex, about Voltfas, while we're on the topic. So was Enel just like, what would happen if Arthur Shappy were in charge of this plane? Or what?
I'm not gonna lie. That was part of it.
I'm also not gonna lie. I may have taken a game of Yellow Car out of a draft of Voltfas.
Shh.
May have.
May have. May or
Wow.
may not. May or may
Yeah.
not. You do weird things in first drafts when you're really tired and you're just like, a joke needs to live here later,
Yeah.
you guys. That
And
was
also-
never a serious
No.
push to get Yellow Car in the
Of,
show.
of course not.
Which,
but you
if you're not familiar with the show Cabin Pressure,
you need to.
go listen
Sorry,
right now.
they're too busy yelling at Gabrielle for denying them a game of Yellow Car.
Yes, for shape, indeed.
For
Yeah.
shame!
No,
Yes.
for shape.
And shape. For
And
shape.
shape.
For shame.
Yeah. No, but those things are important also in kind of, especially with a character that's new, and kind of helping you find
Yeah.
their essence of just
Right,
kind of
and
like,
you know, his voice eventually is, I think, very different from Arthur's, but it helps you sort of get in the mindset. And really, like, Arthur was a helpful signpost. What was more helpful was the story that Hira tells, and I think it's Back to the Future.
Yep.
About like AIs who are really personable and do really well, get really wonderful, lovely, cushy jobs. And so Enlil was more like, what if Hira, but just like really trusting and wonderful, and like none of the trauma or the damage.
right. And kind of like all the rough edges of Hira, Enlil has none of them.
Yes.
You know.
But yeah, not gonna lie, a little bit of Arthur in there too.
Will I ever get Dominic voiced by Gabrielle or nah?
Nah.
Nah.
No,
If
you
you
are
needed the
sorry.
answer, yeah.
You are never going. We are never going to hear Dominic Kudelka, because let's be real, there is no voice that could live up to
It's
the
funny.
Dominic Kudelka that lives in our minds.
We decided, I think I can tell this joke now, that like if somehow we could get an hour of Morgan Freeman's time, he would voice the plant monster.
Yes.
We never had a joke for who it would be Dominic. Like, never, ever.
Zach, what are we doing here?
We're showing the one person that could do Dominic Kudelka
No.
well.
No.
And that is the one and only Ruffles!
Nope.
I found Ruffles. This is my weird-ass sock puppet who's out of focus on my desk.
Amazing.
One second.
All right.
Let me reset the frame.
Yeah, you're right, Sarah. Sort of like the joke was that if we got $1 million, we would do the Plant Monster point of view episode, and it would be narrated by Morgan Freeman. But we had plans about that before we had any intention of ever voicing Mr. Kudelka on the show.
We never had a plan for voicing Mr. Kudelka.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So no.
Ruffles.tv, just saying.
No, there was a before we even knew who they were, there was some brief talk of me voicing either Price or Cutter.
Yeah.
Yes,
But that was
that's
the
right.
only time that in any seriousness I was considered for a voice on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so the Welcome to Night Vale authors have 2 novels published, and now Lauren Shippen has the Bright Sessions trilogy on its way. If you could write a Wolf 359 novel or novels, not if you will, or would you, but simply if you could.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think I'll paraphrase and say if you had to,
Yeah.
what would they be about? What would it/they be about?
See,
Sure.
Zach is like doing that like little adjustment because we've already talked about this, and I've already sort of said that like I kind of really don't feel like an enormous call to write a Wolf 359 novel. Like I'm very happy with the show being in radio, and I kind of really like leaving the characters where we are.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess if I had to, like, if it was just kind of a, like, no, we are going to, withhold all your earnings until you give us a, like, Wolf 359 book.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm not sure. My intuitive answer would just be to, do something like...
From the Plant Monster's perspective?
No. To do something like The Adventures of Another Station, like the Hermes, or something like the Tiamat, just sort of something set in the world, but like very, very different, and just like a completely new kind of story with a very different feel.
What about an
Very
Ender
different
Game
characters.
style, like, slice of life of Anne?
No.
Anne Eiffel.
No.
Just like kids
No.
at school.
See, I'm of the opinion of like anything like that is only going to like diminish it somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing I could see involving any of the original characters that I would be curious to read would be like the early adventures of Miranda Price.
Yeah.
But even that, like, that's something you would have to force me to do.
And like that would be such a tricky book to write though. And it
Yeah.
would really need to kind of be this like Wicked style tragedy of kind of like, how did they become
Yes,
this like awful
that's like a
twisted
narrative
person?
arc of like you start with a mildly unreliable narrator who has interesting intentions and just watch as they're twisted and warped.
Yeah.
But because like I know where she ends up, like that's less interesting to me than going to the USS Valkyrie and just seeing what life is like over there.
Yes. With all that said, very quick shout out. It's awesome that the Welcome to Night Vale guys are getting this book, and we are super thrilled that
Yes.
Lauren
So
is
exciting.
now being able to write these books. Super excited to see her flex her muscles in a different medium, and
Yes.
super
Just like,
excited that
nobody deserves it. I'm just like
no, and
more,
it's
yeah.
more than her.
thrilling to see that, sort of like the keepers of old media are waking up to the
I'm paying
very
attention.
real power of these stories.
Yeah.
And to the very real abilities of these storytellers and to the value of things like podcasts. But like that comes in my mind second of just like how awesome it is that these guys are getting chances to tell more
Oh, yeah.
stories and to
Yes.
share more of these worlds with the
And
characters.
those, I think,
And-
Wolf
or-
359 is a very closed world by design,
Yes.
Yeah.
and a very prickly and unfriendly world in a way that, like, I'm always excited to hear more stories about what's going on in Night Vale. I'm always excited to hear more stories about the patients of Dr. Bright.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
those, not only am I so pleased for Lauren and for the Night Vale guys that they get this opportunity, but I'm so excited because I think those stories can support playing in another sandbox.
Talking about another sandbox, actually, T. Choose your own adventure fun romp through the Hephaestus station.
Oh Lord.
I'd buy that book.
Lord.
I'd buy that book.
They all end with you being eaten by the plant monster. That's the secret.
Yep. It's a good secret. Mitzrayim wants to know any advice on how to continue a creative work despite financial obstacles. And so this is an interesting question, and I think I would highlight the like continue as like I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Because, like, starting creative work despite financial obstacles, like, straightforward from a perspective of do what you have the means for. Like, for instance, like, if you're like, I need to make film, but I can't afford a good camera, if you have a camera, make movies with that camera.
Right. Make a movie with your iPhone.
Right. Make you don't have an iPhone? Like, make friends with someone who does.
Right.
And make a movie with them.
Yeah.
But continuing, I think it becomes a
Yeah.
matter of adaptation in a sense of like, you know, when you see some of the greatest TV shows get smacked down by a network and then they spring up as a graphic novel.
Yeah. No, and I mean, and like, that may be sort of one part of it. There's definitely a side of it that's like, you know, at a certain point, Wolf 359 clearly wanted to be something bigger and with more people and that like required more money. And that's basically when all of you guys wrote in to save the day and you let us make seasons 3 and 4 the monsters that they wanted to be, which are much more complicated and much more difficult than what seasons 1 and 2 are. But I can imagine sort of like us really, really struggling if we hadn't had the support that Patreon gave us in terms of just kind of being like, God, we now need to book all these flights. We need to book like so much more studio time. We're now dealing with like sound effect licensing in the hundreds of dollars per episode instead of in the $20
Dozens,
per
yeah.
episode.
Yeah. No, you both were, I think, also just very clear-eyed about this matters to us. We're going to take this bet, and we're going to get ourselves into a little bit of debt to do it.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, you need to be honest with yourself about whether that's something you're willing to do. And if it is, whether you want to pull the trigger on that.
Right. And I think that that's something that like I was lucky enough to have a like well-paid startup job, and you know that like let me pay out of pocket to do the thing that I was dying to do.
Yeah.
And I was sort of used to that from being a voice actor and like taking classes and paying for that and making a reel and paying for that and getting coaching and paying for like voiceover network. So it was one of those things where it's like, I'm either going to keep spending money over here or I'm going to like spend that money in a way that I feel like I get more like satisfaction and control.
Yeah.
So like financial obstacles are real obstacles. And I think that the thing that is when a path diverges in the woods, to like treat them as like a roadblock that you can't drive around is, I think, less interesting than embracing the obstacle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know that like I hate financial obstacles. I really like other creative obstacles. And I think that if there was an evolution that I could take on creatively, it's to see financial obstacles as other creative obstacles, like only 3 characters, go. Or like only 1 location, go.
And I think that just in terms of like, what is the advice I would give on how to continue things when financial obstacles show up? Ask for help.
Yeah.
Like, we asked for help by making the Patreon. That is 2-year long cry for help of kind of like, help us make this thing.
Yeah.
But, go to the people that are consuming the story. Go to the people that are consuming your project. Go to your friends. Go to whoever it is in the world to whom it matters that you are telling stories. And they will probably be willing to move more heaven and more earth than you would ever suspect to help you keep doing those things. And if you're anything like me, it takes a lot to get over your programming that sort of says like, nope, you don't ask for help in these things. You make them out of your own, like, gumption
sweat,
and your
tears.
blood, sweat, and tears. People want to help. Let them help.
Yeah.
That would be sort of, I think, my big advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah.
Hooray.
Uplifting!
There's strength in numbers, though, you guys. Like that's the
Absolutely.
wonderful thing is that whether you take on sort of a partner in the work who cares about the story, or you just sort of ask the people in your life and your friends who care about you making something. There's strength in numbers. Don't be alone.
Yep. Yeah. Did Kepler know Eiffel was a recovering alcoholic when he offered him whiskey? Was it some kind of test?
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
very deliberately so.
Yes. That is a measure of, like, are you in a place right now where if I offer you this, it's just kind of like a gauge. Where are you? Sort of, how broken are you? How far gone are you? Yeah.
How much can I manipulate you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was appreciating this question. Clearly, somebody was hungry. For each of the surviving food members,
Oh dear.
what would be the first food they eat? I assume the first food was supposed to be crew members.
First crew members, surviving
Crew
crew
members.
members.
Sure.
For each of the surviving crew members, what would be the first food they eat after getting back?
See,
to
I
Earth?
like for each of the surviving food members, what would be the first crew they eat after getting back to Earth? I think that's a much more interesting question.
Oh man, the Thanksgiving
Very
turkey
different
is just
show,
like,
but-
I will eat Eiffel.
Right. Well, it'll be interesting because, Eiffel gets to experience basically everything for the first
All
time
the food
again.
for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I wonder if, like, Minkowski would be like, this is broccoli. It is considered the most delicious thing in the world. You
Yeah.
love it. Really? I don't know. It tastes kind of weird. No, you love it. Just eat more of it.
Trust
Just like,
Yeah. I can definitely see Minkowski and Hira doing a little bit of that.
Uh-huh.
And then Lovelace just being like, this is called a Big Mac.
Right.
Yeah, actually though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's weird because I think when you get back from space, you're not that interested in food. But what would they have as like their first proper meal?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Pineapple and ham pizza!
Ugh.
Cowabunga, dude!
Yeah.
Good coffee. They'd want good coffee.
Oh, the
right?
best coffee.
Yeah.
The best around.
Exactly.
Oh.
Next.
To any and all of the voice actors, straightens tie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Whoa. On average, how many times do you almost knock over your electronic? No. How many times do you have to record lines to get them right? Have you ever gotten them on the first take?
Well, this is also a question for Director Gabriel.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I definitely get a lot of chances. Some episodes more than others. I remember I got like an inordinate amount of time to do the Bob lines.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Well,
To get like, because I like really gave myself a challenge to do Eiffel as fast as I could, and then do another voice as fast as I like, almost faster than as fast as I could to sound bored while doing that.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
It
that
was
was
something to see.
ridiculous. And I appreciated the studio time. So thank you for that support, everybody. It made a huge difference.
It really did.
it really did.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that most of the time we record about 3 takes of most lines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would say that, like, the majority of the time, the third take is the one that ends up in the episode. But there's absolutely a couple of ones where the first take is the one that ends up in the finished episode.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely sort of things where it's like, you know, where my direction is like, okay, Zach, the way that you said that, just do that. Just like keep doing that. Don't mess with it. Don't change anything. Just like give me 2 more of that.
Yeah. Much
Um,
more often, it was first take was sort of warming up, second take was hot, third take was safety.
I would sort of say like third take was like you guys cutting loose a little bit usually.
yeah, and like a little bit of variation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that it's like first take is like reacquainting yourself with it. Second take was like, oh, I see, do the thing, and then the third time was like, okay, now that I know what I need to do, I can kind of think about other parts of it and I can try different things, and
Right.
that's usually where like the good stuff lived. And sometimes we did like a couple more to just like work on something in particular, and I usually found that like kind of fifth take most of the time it was kind of like done with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first, Mitzrayim, thank you. I appreciate that shout out. And Alicia, nobody's ever called me 3-take Valenti, but it's not too late.
No. No. As a joke, Emma
We
would
do,
sort of
yes.
Emma
Two
would
takes
sometimes
for
be
Jarko.
like 2 takes for Jarko because she'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't after that I'm done. I don't do anything else. But purely as a joke, Emma was the most accommodating actress.
Yeah. But yeah, specifically to talk about the Watchtower for a second, and Mitzrayim saying like, damn, you noticed that I've grown as a voice actor, like that means a lot. And that is sort of, I think, as much as I had like a million different reasons for why I wanted to start Wolf, not the least of which was to like work with this amazing team and like realize this incredible idea. Getting the acting school that I feel like I missed in undergrad or wanted to like do but didn't want to take time out of like my like stop my entire life and pay a bunch of money to go to grad school, like this was it. This was amazing, so thank you. And yeah, 1-take Sherjarko actually was 1-take Sherjarko. Are any of you aware of the game Space Station 13?
Nope.
It's
Nope.
basically a playable version of the podcast.
Well, we'll have to check it out.
Neat.
Space Station 13.
Well, we'll take a look sometime.
Emails to lawyers.
No.
Yes, the lawyers that we have and can afford.
Yeah.
Sick 'em. Lawyers. No. No, that just picking up the phone cost me more money than I have.
True.
Let's see. Is Warren Kepler a high-functioning alcoholic?
See, those are one of the things where I'm like, I think that
Think how
putting the
much
label on
higher
it.
he'd function.
I think that putting the label on it just kind of like flattens it out in a way that I find less interesting.
Yeah.
And I'll say this much: I think that Warren Kepler is much more addicted to some other things than he is to alcohol.
Right. I think
Like
alcohol
power.
for him is a very important and very fond prop in the theatrical way that he lives his life.
Yes.
More than it is a need. And we did get a little cartoony with the alcohol and with the scotch as we went on.
Wait, do you mean downing a whole bottle of scotch before you get?
No, I think she means all things
Jettison it.
considered is what she actually means.
I mean the thing that I inflicted on all of you.
No, but like,
but no, I'm not going to put a label on his. It's important to Eiffel that he's an alcoholic in a way it's not
Yes.
important to Kepler, is what I'll say.
Yes, and I think that Kepler, I think that he would stand by the speech that he gives in Securite, where he's like, I like the alcohol, I like the smell of it, I like the taste of it, I like the feel of it in my hand. It's something that I enjoy having. But if it got in the way, I could get rid of it. I think that there are things that we see him struggling to let go of,
Yeah.
even when they get in his way. And I think that is much more about what his problem is than any alcoholism, high functioning or otherwise. Which is not to say that he isn't an alcoholic, but just that I think that there are higher order issues in his mind to deal with
Yeah.
and unpack.
Yeah. Are you okay with people tagging you in posts with romantic/shippy artworks?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tag away.
Yes, please. We want to see all of it. We love everything that people create
It
about
never
the show. So
is
yes,
not
please.
wondrous and surreal.
This thing called romance.
Don't worry about it, Doc. I'll explain it to you later.
I want no tags.
No.
No
Go
romance.
ahead and tag him. He needs to learn.
He does need to learn.
Is it like a ship? A spacecraft? The artworks? I like diagrams of spaceships. Send me those, yes. What would each character's decision be if they were confronted with the trolley problem? The thought experiment.
Oh, God. All right, Sarah. So remind me of the particulars. It's been a while since I've read this.
Okay, so here's the trolley problem. You're on a trolley.
Right.
And you're going to sort of it is something is going terribly wrong. So what you can do to avoid hitting, like, I think it's like a crowd of 5 people or so, is you can like pull a lever which will switch the trolley onto a different track. And it'll hit and kill a person, but it won't hit and kill a crowd of people. The trolley problem is, like, would you be more willing to pull a lever and make that exchange 1 life for 5? Or would you be willing to push a particularly large person out of the trolley to slow the trolley? Are they the same thing? You kill 1 person, save a crowd of people. What is the difference between pulling the lever and pushing the person? I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
That sounds about right. Like, it's just kind of like an element of, like, do you exchange the certainty of one person's death, which will objectively save a larger crowd,
Yeah.
for the possibility of saving the larger crowd, but at a less blood on your hands-y
Right.
pace?
Yeah.
People don't think there's anything about pushing a person, but whatever. We got close.
Okay.
I think, or maybe that's a different philosophical concern. I know that, like, there's 2 levels of it. It's like, would you pull the lever? And then if you would you also push a person that would achieve the same effect?
Right.
Yeah.
Clearly, we may need to read up.
Yeah, we may
on
need
it.
to Google that again.
Yeah.
People are
Um,
saying it's basically 1 death versus several. You're causing
Yes.
it.
But no, but there's also kind
You
of like
can
an
either
element.
do nothing. You can do nothing. You can
Yeah,
just
do
say,
nothing
like,
and more
the
people
universe
might die.
Yeah.
Or do the hard thing, to take an action that will make you a, like, direct murderer, not just, like,
Yeah,
participant
you will
in
for
manslaughter.
sure, like, be the person who kills someone,
Mhm.
but at the probable safety of several people.
Okay, well, if it's in those terms, Lovelace, Jacobi, Maxwell, Kepler, and Hilbert
Yes, would all.
all would kill the person to save the crowd.
Yep.
Everyone else wouldn't. I think, under those parameters.
Yeah.
Eiffel would hand ring until it was too late.
Yep, and
Yep,
Minkowski
so would
would hate herself
Minkowski.
later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would what?
Yeah.
Minkowski would hate herself later, but she wouldn't do it in the moment.
She wouldn't.
Yeah.
You really think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, we've sort of seen her sort of up in a crisis, and she really has to be pushed to take a life.
Yeah.
She really, really has to be pushed.
And I think that if it was if she was in the trolley, and if it was a choice of basically she could make the trolley veer into a wall and kill herself,
She would do that.
She would totally
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the sort of subtle differences in Minkowski and Lovelace's command style, of Lovelace is the person that is willing to be sort of the no, I will do it. I will not think about it twice. Minkowski will think about it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yikes. If the characters had superpowers, what would they be? Bonus! If it was a
Hooray!
Bright Session crossover, what would they
Ooh.
talk about
Oh,
on their
God.
therapy sessions?
All the things.
Eiffel would be able to materialize a burrito with any filling at any moment, anywhere.
He would just be
Is
like
that
a walking.
superpower or a
He'd be a walking 3D printer.
power?
Power.
Right, I would believe that Eiffel would have the ability to manifest anything at all, and all he would use it for would be different kinds of burritos.
Wait, I looked up the trolley problem, and we did get it mostly right. And the sort of pushing someone off the trolley is a variation on the problem.
That did sound familiar to me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good
Anyway.
to know.
Right. And
Anyway.
there's another variation, I think, that is the one person is somebody you love.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Where you know the person who it'll hit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyway.
Well, what are the other superpowers, Zach?
I would be able to cure any disease.
It's not the ones that they want. It's the ones that they would
no,
actually
that
have.
they would have.
Um.
No, I think the only way Eiffel would be alive if he had those healing regenerative properties.
I don't know. I could see Eiffel with kind of a Quicksilver like super speed and just kind of that antsy
Yeah.
an ability
Sure.
to sort of concentrate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Flying? Could he fly?
No, probably not.
Oh.
Nah, he
Yeah.
wouldn't fly.
Minkowski would have super strength. Minkowski would have sort of that thing where she
Yeah.
can turn into steel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shoot
Right.
the Colossus.
Exactly.
Hilbert would be made out of stone.
Oof.
Eh,
Yeah.
very literal.
Hero would be able to read minds.
Yes,
I
I think Lovelace might be able to move things with her mind.
Or Lovelace could fly.
Eh,
I could see that maybe.
I believe she can fly.
Jacoby, would be able to
human
blow up
flame?
things with his mind. Yeah, Jacoby
Human
would be the
flame?
human flame. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
easy.
Yep. Maxwell would have that superpower from Ex Machina. From Deus Ex, rather.
Oh, Lord.
No, what is the name of that comic book? Is it Deus Ex or Ex Machina?
No, it's Ex Machina.
Ex Machina, yeah, where
Yeah.
she can talk to machines and command
Yeah.
them.
The Brian K. Vaughan.
Yep. And Kepler would I think maybe Jedi mind trick powers, sort of
manipulator.
kinetic control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Telepathic
sort
control.
of reading.
Telepathic control, yeah.
It is reading people's minds as well. He would.
Yeah, but I think that in the sort of Lauren Shippen distinction of Hero would be able to
Sure.
access other people's minds.
Sure. It's the
Kepler
difference
would be
between
able
Chloe
to
and Damien.
change it.
Yeah. He's just exudes his will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
I would not talk in therapy session. Two can play
There
at this
there
game.
is a therapy. There's a what was it when you
Oh,
were
Therapy
doing Vines?
Tuesdays? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
There's
great.
one with, that was great.
Yeah.
Tiffy is such a good therapist. Those were fun. I should start those maybe. I don't know.
Those were a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Those were a lot of fun.
Therapy Tuesdays.
Yeah.
If all the characters actually had... Oh, wait. There's something in the chat
Okay.
that everybody wanted to know. And it was...
I feel like we've actually done the talent show question in the past.
Yeah.
We have.
Basically, it was about a zombie apocalypse. Who'd die? Who'd
I think
Oh,
we've
almost
also
everyone.
done that. And
Yeah.
almost everyone, but especially Eiffel.
Immediately.
Oh,
In a like
Immediately.
incredibly funny and incredibly gross way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But
Um,
wouldn't he just kill himself? Wouldn't he be like, guys, there are zombies. This does not end well
So
for me.
okay, so basically,
Somebody give me the gun.
actually, hold on. Now I'm thinking about
Just
it.
give me the gun.
Yeah.
It depends. If it is Walking Dead,
Yes.
Eiffel dies very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
If we are playing by Zombieland rules of it is a world that is dictated by movie tropes
Right.
and like, and having sort of like extensive knowledge of like, no, wait, you don't open that door because that's where zombies are going to be. How can you possibly know that? Because that's always where the zombies are.
Right.
Eiffel might be the last man on Earth because he would sort
I
of like
think-
see the code in the Matrix.
I think we should play by Shaun of the Dead rules, where the zombies are a real and violent threat.
Sure.
But knowing some stuff about westerns might actually help you.
Sure. In that case, Eiffel dies pretty quickly.
He dies pretty quick.
Jacoby also probably dies.
Yeah, relatively soon.
Kepler, Minkowski, and Lovelace probably last a very, very long time.
And one of them will kill each other.
Yes, absolutely.
One of them will die by a human and not a zombie. I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure who.
I think Hilbert lasts a heroically long time.
He does.
Mostly because people sort of make an effort to keep him alive because his medical skills
Are useful.
Are super
are
useful.
useful.
Um,
Maxwell lasts a surprising long time.
yeah, we finally get to see those
Those
Montana
rifle skills.
rifle skills.
Yeah.
Jacoby dies spectacularly. With
Oh, yeah,
massive
yeah, yeah.
explosions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, but, like, he takes-
single man has blown up so many zombies.
Yeah, in a,
Yeah.
like a single move. Yeah. No,
I
no.
guess Hero would die first if the power grid went down.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Wolfler 59 characters could meet any other characters from other audio dramas, who would they get along with really well, and who would they absolutely despise?
I really, really want. I really want Minkowski to meet Rudyard Funn.
Yeah.
I think that they would have a good time complaining about how
Oh,
everyone
wow.
should just shut up and
That's
listen
actually
to
really
them.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Hilbert and Wadsworth would be decent coworkers.
Yeah.
So long
Yeah.
as Hilbert got a great budget and very
No.
little
They would-
oversight.
In a way that like Wadsworth and Price and Carter is just a little too much firepower together.
Oh, yeah.
Hilbert and Wadsworth would be simpatico.
Yes. I want Eiffel to go on an adventure with the crew from Hadron Gospel Hour. I think that would be a lot of fun for everyone.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
What about Sally Grissom and Eiffel?
That would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be.
Yeah. They get along.
I feel like
They would have so many debates about comic books. It'd be great.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Likewise, almost as amusing to me as Rudyard Funn and Minkowski getting along, which they would. I would
Yeah.
love to have Lovelace meet Chapman because they
Oh,
would
they
hate each other.
Yeah. Antigone and Hera would get along rather well.
Yes,
as
they
well.
would. They would.
Yeah.
We got one in the chat by Rashu Rao for Sally Grissom and Fourier.
That would be good.
Oh, yeah, they'd get on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to. This is like for the Cabin Pressure fans out there. I want to see the episode where this would never happen, but due to some hijinks, Cutter has to take a flight on MJN Air.
Yes.
So
Cutter and Carolyn together
Right.
in a confined space.
Cutter and all of them. And basically
Yes.
the Cabin Pressure crew would come extremely close to death and never know just like how dangerously
How
close they
lucky
were
Yeah,
to just like being erased out of existence.
this is true.
If the characters were in a horror movie, what cliche characters type, the jock, the nerd,
No worries.
They're all nerds.
The
They're all
non-believer,
kinda
the hot
nerds.
one. Would each of them be? Obviously, Eiffel is the hot. No.
Although again supports our theory of dies
Eiffel
quickly.
is the fool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No, if we're playing by Cabin in the Wood rules,
He would be
is
the fool, which I think
Yeah.
in this case, in this structure, is the non-believer.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about this for a second. Like,
I think
that
they
it
mean
would
something
be.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we go by it with the like first four, it would be Minkowski would be the jock.
Yeah.
Hira would be. Actually, I'm not sure because Hilbert would be the nerd. Eiffel would be the fool.
Yeah.
So
Although,
here would be the
I think
hot one
there's-
by default.
I guess.
I guess those processors do get rather warm.
Checks out. Checks out. Moving
Yep,
on.
Moving on.
Moving on. We're done.
1 second. Let me check that box. All right. Who is the largest amount of overall alcohol consumed during his lifetime? Eiffel, Kepler, or Jacobi?
You know, our meters broke after the
Yeah.
first 200 liters.
After a certain point, you just stop counting.
Yeah.
I think that actually probably Eiffel.
It is probably Eiffel,
Yeah.
followed
Alcoholism.
by Jacobi,
Yeah.
with Kepler lagging behind.
No,
I
because
would
like,
say.
and that's the thing about it. Like, I believe that like Kepler and Jacobi drink a lot, and that they can binge drink a lot.
Yeah.
I think that Eiffel was probably in a point of like binge drinking like daily.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, like drinking was what he did
Yeah.
for a while.
Will we ever get to see the rest of those blacked out character backstory sheets?
No. Sorry.
Alas.
So when do we hear about Lovelace's past and or present girlfriends, huh?
No. We do not. We will probably not know more details about the characters' lives than what is in the show.
But Gabrielle, not even necessarily in a shippy way. Please tell us Jacobi's type in men. Eye emojis.
Well, we know it's not that guy from the Hermes crew.
Right.
Yeah, we know that. Well, neither one of them. Like he sort of says, like neither one of these guys is my type.
Yeah.
So, not those guys. That's his type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing we got a good look at them.
Radio.
Let's see. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Can you please give me some movie recommendations for someone who's like phenomenally pop culturally uncultured? Assume I haven't even seen universally known stuff because I probably haven't, but I want to fix it.
So there's this movie
Aw.
about these wars that happen
In the stars.
In the stars. No, you know what's a really, really, really good.
They happened a long time
Oh, there's-
ago in a galaxy that is not just far away,
but
it's
very far
far
away. If you haven't seen Star Wars, watch Star Wars. It's
Star Wars is great. Yeah.
Start with number 4. I know it's confusing,
Yes,
but you'll thank
yes,
us later.
please.
Yeah. Start with number
Um,
4.
If you can find them on VHS from the 80s, they will do you better.
Yeah, if
I mean,
God,
there's
you-
enough. There are enough restored versions out there.
Yeah,
floating
just like
around.
don't just get the DVD off the shelf because the guy went crazy. He made the thing and it was great, and then
Then he didn't stop making it.
I don't know. He didn't like eat his broccoli or something. He just lost it.
It's not, I think, what happened, but
but yeah.
He's drunk with
Um,
power.
Here's one that I only recently saw, and shame on me, because it's a really, really good movie, and I think that it'll do you right if you're like looking to become more pop culture referenced. Groundhog's Day. Really, really good movie. That I would recommend for adding to your pop culture canon.
I would say, besides Star Wars, watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That gets across a lot of the. It's a wonderful film. It's kind of a perfect action film.
It is.
And it'll also get across like a lot of the geeky adventure sensibility that is in other films.
You know what? Like, not kidding here, just like straight up, Casablanca.
Yes.
Because you're gonna get to that moment, Casablanca, where all of a sudden, like, someone is gonna say something, you're gonna be like, Oh, that's where this
That's-
comes from? Oh my
and
god.
that's going to happen like 10
9
times.
Yeah.
There
it
is not a scene in that movie that is extraneous. It is a beautiful, tight, well-made film.
But it's
Gorgeous
like
to look at.
in the way that when you read certain Shakespeare plays, you kind of are like,
Yes.
I didn't realize
that's
that
where
like
that
this
saying
word
came from.
existed this far back in the English language, and it's because he fucking invented it.
Yeah.
Casablanca will have sort of a similar effect of like, oh my god, like I didn't realize that like all these things that are just like in the cultural waters all came from the same place.
Yes.
So yeah.
Also, Puppet Yoda is the best Yoda. Thank you, chat.
He is.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yoda
Glad we got
truthers.
him. Glad we got him back for The Last Jedi.
Oh, Jesus.
I see you in the chat, Rhinosaurus Rex. Scripts are coming. I'm formatting them. It's taking me a little bit longer because I'm having to like do a little bit of restoration.
Oh, that's
from
right.
different formats of scripts. I'm working on it. They'll be
Yeah.
up soon. It's taking me a little bit longer than I thought, but they'll be up soon.
There were some season 4 scripts that got mangled, the poor dears.
And yeah, there's some long ones this
Yeah.
time around. So yeah.
What are the characters' guilty pleasures? Aside from cigarettes for Eiffel, whiskey for Kepler, and world domination for Cutter. and
None of them
Price.
are guilty about
They're
those
not guilty.
pleasures. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all like these are the best pleasures.
What's wrong with the rest of you?
Yeah.
But guilty pleasures.
So, does Minkowski consider musicals a guilty
No,
pleasure?
that's my question, I think. Is
No.
like,
But, like, is she, like, a little bit ashamed? Is she, like, a little bit embarrassed?
I think
A
she's
little
tired
bit.
of being harassed,
Mm-hmm.
but it's different. It's like, I think deep down she knows that the world is dumb,
Sure.
versus like, I don't know, maybe this is controversial, but I saw all of season 1 of True Blood in a weekend once, and I was not proud.
sure.
Sure. I see you.
That's
no, and
fair.
you know what? If
There are
Eiffel...
certain musicals of hers that are guilty pleasures that
Yes.
she knows aren't
Right,
good,
but the
but she
genre
likes
of
them.
musicals
No,
is
absolutely.
they're crazy, and I'm tired of being bullied. It's wasting
That's
too much
right.
of my time.
Yes,
That's right.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Which is
Okay.
different from I watched all of True Blood season 1 in a weekend at once, and I don't like to talk about it, but here we are.
Why do I feel that at some point, perhaps when they were rooming together, Maxwell came in and was like, "Hey, Jacoby, what are you watching?" "Oh, I'm about to start season 1 of True Blood. Do you want to watch?" And they looked up 10 hours later and were like, "Well, we are never talking about that ever
Ever
again to
Yeah.
anyone."
I can relate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, I bet Maxwell like has some like melodrama and whatchamacallit, soap opera shows that are just the guiltiest of
Yeah.
pleasures.
Clearly, the cheeses are probably also
Yeah, that's
Jacoby's
for
guilty
Jacoby.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on with that.
That
The cheeses. Oh man.
Also, for everyone in the show that knows about it, teasing Jacoby about his ducks phobia.
Well, I
That's
was
a
gonna
guilty
say, I
pleasure.
bet a guilty pleasure of Maxwell's is the vinyl record of duck calls that she bought.
no.
the vinyl record.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
not like the MP3
Yes.
playlist, but like the vinyl
That's
record.
right.
Vinyl.
She went out and she was
Commit.
like, you know what I need? I need
Maxwell.
a vinyl record player.
Maxwell said this.
Maxwell's
Yeah.
I need a vinyl record player
Uh-huh.
to get as accurate a reproduction of the sound.
This is what Maxwell
of
said.
This is what Maxwell,
Maxwell.
the AI specialist.
Verbatim.
Okay.
Would I lie? If characters had absolute soulmates, next question. No matter
God.
no matter romantic or platonic,
Uh-huh.
what would they be like?
Ooh.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, so one would be, this is for Eiffel, made out
Uh-huh.
of dough, covered
No.
with cheese and tomato sauce
Mhm.
and pineapple and ham.
No.
Ham,
No.
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 but
Oh.
soulmate.
See, this is tough though, because this is where I'm kind of like, I think that there's arguments for, say, both Eiffel and Hira being, I'm sorry, for both Minkowski and Hira being Eiffel's platonic
Yes.
soulmate.
Soulmate.
But by the definition of the word soulmate, it is
That-
like,
yeah.
it needs to kind of reduce it to one. And I don't want to just kind of be like, well, Eiffel and Minkowski are soulmates, and what he had with Hira is something different. And then I guess that means that what Minkowski has with Kudelka, that's
Is different.
Different.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so I'll say this much, and I think that this is perhaps all that I can say about this. All the character soulmates, whoever they are the people that, whether consciously or subconsciously, challenge them in the exact ways that the characters need to be challenged, and at the exact rate in which they are ready to be challenged.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the thing that like really makes them bond together.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think that I can kind of parse it out in any greater detail without closing out some possibilities that should be
Yeah,
allowed
no,
to
I
bloom.
think that's like a good general rule for someone's soulmate or someone's, sort of true partner. To use a term that could include multiple people, is that they sort of open you up to the possibility of you being a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
yeah, Hira and Minkowski have both done that for Eiffel.
Sarah Hemme with the statement of the evening. My husband just walked in and said, we all know Hilbert is Eiffel's soulmate.
Well,
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch, says Doug.
mm,
Excellent, says Hilbert.
Oh dear.
Only if it works. If the characters had children, what kind of parents would they be? Train wreck. Very effective.
I mean, I feel that like Wolf 359 can kind of be summarized as like Renee Minkowski figures out how to parent her
how to
children.
parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like most of these people I think are like very much not ready to
No.
Be responsible for life.
Yeah. Weirdly controversial statement here, possibly. I think that out of all of them, Cutter and Price might be the most like equipped with the tools to have good parents. It would be a problem because they would raise their kids to be sociopaths, just like
Right.
they are.
I also don't think they have any interest in children.
Not at all.
They're solely interested in themselves, and that I think is the one thing that certainly Eiffel demonstrated, and that Minkowski would demonstrate, is like a parent's willingness to be genuinely interested and genuinely enthusiastic about this other person who needs them in a
That's
way
right.
that they haven't been needed ever.
That's
Right.
right.
So they'd be a disaster, but they deal with it, which is what all parents do.
Yeah.
Deal with disaster. All right, I'm going to ask this and then go get a glass of water. Would you like some?
No, I think I'm okay.
I would like one, Zach.
Oh, I'll get that right to you, Sarah. What census batch is Rhea from? Asking because Enel was in the 100 series and he speaks English, but Rhea only speaks beep.
Yeah, Enlil
love
was
that
probably in
idea.
a pre-numerical series. Whether that is the 0th series or like the Alpha series.
Yeah, Rhea
or
was.
some previous designation.
Yeah.
I think that in the same way that kind of Apple OS systems at a certain point went from cats to like national
Mountains.
landmarks, the census units probably at some point went from like Alpha series to just like the 100 series to then the 200 series and so forth.
Apples were named after German tanks.
Yeah? Is that...
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it is cats, but it also lines up weirdly with German tanks.
Well, they're big cats.
But El Capitan, that's not a tank, is it?
No, but is it
Yeah.
a big
No.
No,
And then
it's a-
Sierra was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're like landmark features now.
Right. I see a question in the chat.
Hey,
Rhinosaurus Rex, why did Endel have a masculine voice?
that's a good question.
No.
We talked about if there was a masculine voiced AI, what they would be like. There was even a brief discussion of that masculine voice being belonging to Scotty Shoemaker.
Right.
But I think you can say that Enlil is in an earlier series, and probably as the results of those series, Price worked out that she wanted slightly more control over all of them.
That's right.
And so I don't think the 200 series, which Shira is a part of, has any masculine voiced AI,
That's right.
is what I would say.
I think that's spot on. Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Ba-doobie-doo-boop. Is
Ta-da.
Clark in love with Enlil? Enlil?
Mm,
I mean, if he is, power to
hiding,
him. Yeah.
hiding it well, but yeah,
But not that there's anything wrong with it.
not that there's any good luck to those crazy kids.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did Price? How did Price get out of the orphanage? Did she age out of the system, run away? Did Cutter adopt her?
She definitely was not. She was not adopted by
No.
Cutter.
Or anyone else.
Yeah. No, she aged out of the system.
Hmm.
What mythological name do you wish you could have in the show?
Like, personally?
No. What mythological name do you wish you could have used in the show?
Used in the
Ah.
show.
Yeah.
Sorry. Small.
Gotcha.
Font. Small font.
Yeah, no, it's very small font. But I was just like,
Yeah, I don't have glasses.
I don't know. We used a lot of the ones that came up in
we
conversation.
did. We even sort of eventually had to kind of like switch over to the Babylonian mythologics because
Yeah.
we had kind of
We had
like
sort of
ran
exhausted
course
the
with
Greeks.
Greeks, yeah.
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 Maybe a related question.
I'm really pleased we got Eris in there.
Yeah,
Eris was good.
Eris was
Yeah.
great. What's Klein's first name?
We'll never tell.
We'll never
Ulysses,
tell.
yeah.
There we go. Done and done.
That's right.
Oh.
No, I think that's his artistic name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The artist formerly known
Known
as,
as
Ulysses.
Klein's first name.
Wow.
Is whatever you want Klein's first name.
It is
to be.
whatever you want it to be. If it's
That's
not
right.
said in the show, it belongs to you.
That's right.
Uh-huh. How do you spell that? though?
Klein?
No, the
Oh, Ulysses?
no. No.
The
Whatever you want it to
insert
be,
your
yeah.
own
Oh.
thing. I think is
Gotcha,
what you were
gotcha.
getting at. Yes.
Trying to fake you guys out for the good of the chat.
Oh my God, Zach, you have to ask us this question.
That's why it's highlighted. That's why it's highlighted.
Oh my God,
How
this is
would the
awful.
characters perform on drumroll, please? Okay, fine. Thank you,
Sorry.
Sarah.
I'm
American
Ninja Warrior.
I mean,
Starfade.
Oh,
Two
what
action
an
shots.
Incredible show.
So good.
First of all.
First of all, if you don't know, American Ninja Warrior is basically what every game show should be, which is a ridiculous, outrageously difficult obstacle course that
Just-
basically only Olympic athletes can pass. Except because of its cult following, a bunch of crazies applied for season 1 in costume that are not fit for this challenge, this physical challenge.
No,
And
just,
basically fall into a swamp in like 2 seconds. And you're just
Okay.
like, yeah.
no, wait. The best
So-
one. Zach, have you seen the one where a guy tries to run the course in one of those inflatable dinosaur suits?
No!
He actually gets further than you think he will.
That's fucking amazing.
But
So-
it's a very silly show.
I would say that like the only people who would do like
Who'd get past the first, like,
Stage of
jump.
it. Yeah.
right, like the only people who would do like respectably well
Kepler,
might be Kepler,
Loveless.
Loveless.
and Ryman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryman would be. He would be in
Well,
there to win it.
and
M-
Cutter.
Well, I'm
No,
Because
yeah,
he's not
Cutter-
human. He doesn't.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
like disqualified.
Yeah,
for
Cutter-
being too-
No.
Cutter. I'm leaving out of a lot of these questions because he kind of breaks the world.
Yeah,
Right.
a little bit.
I think that Minkowski would do better than everyone else.
But no.
And I
she
think-
wouldn't-
I think
but she
Eiffel
wouldn't-
would slip on his way
No, I
to the car
he wouldn't
to
make
get
it
to
to the course.
set. Yeah.
No, I think that if he didn't slip,
He's like fell in the shower in the morning.
I think that if he,
No,
but
he
like
would take
if
a
he
look
actually,
at the course and laugh and then walk away.
no, like if he actually like had to do it, like if he actually had to like go on the course,
Yes.
he wouldn't do awfully, but it would be the kind of awful that gets played in the highlight reel for the next
Yeah.
like 5 years.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
he would win at that.
like he would be in the
Yeah.
opening credits for the show.
Right.
For being so bad.
Right.
Right, in a way that like Maxwell and Jacoby would just miss a jump and lose.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was so
Yeah.
And they would just kind of be like that, like point of like, oh yeah, you're like fit, but you're not like superhumanly fit
Yeah,
the way
but
that this
no.
course requires.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a whole part where you have to, on your fingertips, like, climb up a wall. It's, like, ridiculous.
It's insane.
Okay,
Like
oh
this
my
is a
God.
thing that
Here's the
stunt
question, though.
people.
No, Rena, though, is like...
That was about to say.
Immediately, Lambert finishes in a minute 30 seconds and is just like, what of it?
Cardio, bitches.
No.
Lambert fucking brings it.
Zumba.
Lambert's super fit, and he would get very far. He does not have the upper body strength build to finish that course.
And I
You're
think
right.
that- and I
I'm
think that-
sorry.
only works your glutes.
Well, and I think that it also like requires a level of like kind of reflex work and just kind of being
Yeah.
able to like think on your toes. And I think that that's what would trip him up.
Yeah, no, he would be like moving through the finger hang and just like hold there too long, and then
Yeah.
his fingers would give.
Everyone
Yeah.
in the Loveless crew, Loveless would still do the best out of everyone in
Yeah.
that first crew. Hui and Furia would do funnily bad.
Yes, comically bad.
Especially
they might run
because-
it together.
Especially because Hui would be like, I got this. I did like military training. How hard could this be? And then
Yeah.
like cut to, I don't got this. Help.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I would watch this show. Fisher,
Fisher, he's sort of in that Minkowski category. If he would
Yeah.
do better, he wouldn't finish
Yeah.
the course.
Yeah.
though.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Fuck, that's funny.
Oh
I
man.
did that. Thank you,
What a
guys.
great
Whoever asked that,
show.
high five.
You got it.
What's Rachel's real name? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No.
Damn
No.
it!
No.
Question: if Team Cutter Price, Rachel Victor ran the Eris test, what would they see?
It would mostly be Eris
Oh.
apologizing for wasting their time and being like, "Here you are, sir. You did great. No
Yes.
fix needed."
Yeah.
I think it would just be like a simulation of all of them, like having a meal, and just like it was supposed to go bad, but it would end up being just like them drinking tea really pleasantly.
With Eris just being like, we really get it. Yeah, it's such a lonely job.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I feel that especially, like, I'm not saying that they are not above the kinds of things that Eris is designed to address and to
Yeah.
fix. Like, they definitely have some problems. That's why they lost at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I think that especially Cutter and Price would just, like, be able to see past the, not necessarily the illusions that Eris creates, but the, like, you know,
They
kind
would-
of web spinning that she does.
Right, in the same way that I think if you are really literate, you can sort of see plot twists coming and see like, oh, this is here for that reason.
Yes.
They're able to do that with real life.
Yes. Exactly.
Now that y'all are free from swaying opinions
Mm-hmm.
or something, what are y'all's ships? Also, like, why is Kepler so mad at Hilbert in Don't Poke the Bear? My BFF would die to know that. SMH? Oh, somebody told me what this is.
Shake my head? Is that the
Uh,
abbreviation?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a better guess than mine. I will not.
I'm down
guess.
with the youths.
As in what happened before, did Eiffel left recorded somewhere Hilbert's real backstory? Or told, this is a really complicated question, I should have read it first.
Yeah.
Or told
Yeah.
Minkowski?
That's a
something
good question.
So that
Whether
his real backstory doesn't die with Eiffel's memories? I'm crying.
yeah, That's a good question. Whether he told anybody else.
Okay, yeah. So just to like repeat the question to make sure that I understand it.
Uh-huh.
So first of all,
I think it's
like,
it's a multi-part question, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, what are our ships? I think that we cannot actually say anything
Nope.
on that.
Nope.
So, but then part
We're
2
not gonna
is
We'll never be free from swaying opinion.
why is
Yeah.
Kepler so mad at Hilbert and Don't Poke the Bear? And then did Eiffel leave any record of what Hilbert's real backstory was?
Right.
Or did he tell Minkowski or anything like that? Kepler was so mad at Hilbert and Don't Poke the Bear because in Kepler's mind, Hilbert was the operative that was in charge of neutralizing and controlling the situation on the Hephaestus if a Theta scenario contingency came up. And
Yeah.
Hilbert basically screwed up. The reason why why Kepler is so mad at Hilbert is the events of Gas Me Twice, basically. The fact that he lost control. That instead of the situation being perfectly preserved and
Yeah.
perfectly controlled so that they can get the most clean and just like unperturbed reading of the situation that they possibly can, it spiraled all kinds of ways. From Sunday, they didn't find out about it until way later. You know, it is, as far as Kepler is concerned, a massive and utter failure of Hilbert's real responsibilities. And furthermore, I think that in Kepler's mind, it is, and you screwed it up because you cared more about
Yeah.
your personal pet project
Yep.
than about what your real priority should have been.
Yep.
And for Kepler, that is unforgivable. And
Yeah, they talk, or not Kepler, but I think like Jacobi talks to
Maxwell
Eiffel.
Lovelace. Oh no, in A Matter of Perspective.
In
yes,
matter
yes,
of
yes, yes.
perspective is where I was going.
Yes.
About, Kepler has this wonderful gift of seeing people's potential and seeing people's gifts, but really believes it should be applied to something that matters as opposed to sort of personal whims.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think that there is also, Jacobi also mentions he has all these ulterior motives. I
Yeah.
think there's absolutely an ulterior motive of, I know that you don't like Hilbert, so I'm going to like really hit on the person that you don't like.
Yeah.
I am going to try to, even if it's just subconsciously, align you with kind of my perspective by being mean towards the person that has been mean to you.
And I think it's kind of telling that after Overture, when sort of Kepler's administration is the most solidified that it is, he stops picking on Hilbert.
He does. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, did Eiffel leave records of Hilbert's real backstory? That's a good question.
It's a good question.
Personally, I don't see Eiffel talking too much about that.
Yeah.
And I think that there's an element of the honor code of, well, I'm also someone that has like a complicated
Secrets,
backstory and some secrets.
Yeah.
And
I think that secret goes to Eiffel's memories graves.
yeah.
Yeah, the only way I think it could have survived is if Hira overheard their conversation in the moment, which she
Yeah.
might have. But I don't think he told anyone.
No.
Yeah.
There's also probably some records of it in the Black
Sure.
Archives, but that's in the Black Archives.
We got in a
Yeah.
chat. Oh, is there more to this question?
No,
that wanna
we are,
answer?
no, I
Okay.
think we have now tackled it.
Okay, if the characters were given a truth potion to drink, A,
Mm-hmm.
how would they deal with this situation? And B, what would be the hardest truth for them not to spill?
So the situation they're dealing with is the truth potion?
Yeah, I
not
think
like-
most of them would throw the potion on the floor.
I think most of them would yell at Hilbert and be
Yeah.
like, why did you make a truth potion?
Right.
What is
This
the
is
possible
useless.
use of this?
Right.
Yeah.
I think pretty much all of them are like uniformly like, nah, bro.
I mean, I think that Kepler would knock himself out.
Yeah.
Like, just like immediately be like, I'm out.
How does he know it doesn't wake him up?
Well, I'm assuming that like it's kind of a like,
you're put in a room and you're like, someone's like, drink this.
Right.
With it, I
Drink.
think,
Oh, by the way, it was a truth potion. I think that he would immediately be like, yeah, exactly.
yep.
Um,
I'm not.
Do you think he would be like, I'm gonna knock myself out? 'Cause he can't.
I mean, if those are the rules of the truth potion, then yeah, he'd say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I
that
feel
would be-
that for how most people would react to this, he need to know.
Yeah.
I think that most people would be like, okay, we're going to deal with this like grown-ups. And when people say something, we're not going to judge. And we're all just going to like try to be adults about this. Okay? And everyone will be like, yeah, sure. And then Jacoby would be like, I'm afraid of ducks. We'll be like,
Yeah.
be like, what? You assholes. I mean, Cosby would just be like, we're totally not going to deal like this like grown-ups. And it would just sort of be a lot of this constant push-pull between like,
Yeah.
like, ugh, I just want to like, I want to not have this thrown in my face when it's my turn.
Yeah.
But like, it's all just so amusing and also scandalous that I kind of can't help myself but like reacting viscerally.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're getting into the last couple of questions territory.
Alrighty.
Let's see. Is there a reason why both of Hilbert's fake names don't sound Russian or Slavic? It's not something impossible, of course. There's all kinds of names you can find here. I just found that a little bit odd.
They're fake names.
They are fake names, and they were not making an attempt to be fidelitas to
Nope.
his place of origin. Yeah.
Nope.
tried for Jimmy Smith. Nobody would go with Jimmy Smith.
Right.
I
And,
felt like a Jimmy.
And the thing too that like I've actually never maybe articulated, but maybe is worth articulating is that the name Alexander Hilbert, that is almost completely for the benefit of people who will never meet him. That is for the benefit of like the press release says that on the Hephaestus station the doctor is Alexander Hilbert. Who's Alexander Hilbert? Some doctor, period. There's no consideration for,
If I had been Jimmy Smith, it would be, who is this amazing mystery doctor?
No, but like no, but like in a way that like like Dr. Dmitry Volodin, that begs a little bit more of a question.
Yeah.
And and sort of in the Loveless days when it's clearly a little bit more of an international consortium, then it's sort of a Norwegian name.
Yeah.
But it's not for the benefits of the people that he's interacting with. It's for the benefits of the paperwork.
It's a cover.
Exactly.
So.
This sounds dangerous, Rena. I don't know.
Oh no.
It's up to them.
Okay.
They're asking if I will read something that was posted on.
Tumblr. Okay.
I mean-
well, let's see what it is.
Yeah.
That's up to you. That's your judgment.
I'm scared from anything that comes from Tumblr.
Oh, there you go. You want to take a look at it?
Oh, Jesus.
No promises until we actually see what it is.
Oh, God, no.
I can't see what they're reading, so I think you should do it.
The thing about this is, like, I feel that this is a reference to something that neither Zach nor I know.
Which means I have no problem saying Alexander Hilbert as the final Pam. How your deep space exploration go, Minkowski? Pretty good, it doesn't seem.
Alright. There you go.
Yeah. That's
You're
it.
welcome. that was the thing. All right. Wait, what? It's a McElroy reference.
Who's McElroy?
Mabumba Bums.
Oh.
Yes.
We're not.
Sure.
We don't.
Yeah,
we don't.
sorry.
We don't really-
We haven't gone there yet.
Yeah.
That's a lie. We have, or at least Gabrielle and I have listened to Till Death Do Us Blurred. That's
No,
an
yes.
awesome thing. Yeah,
Yes.
which highly recommend. That's a fun one.
I'm looking forward to seeing the final Pam. Apparently. Do the SI5 celebrate the anniversary of Jacoby's recruitment every year? If yes, how much do they drink? No, how does it usually go? And do they do the same for Maxwell? I refuse to use the past tense K.
See, this is
Okay.
one of those, like, there's something less special about us spelling it out. And this is definitely, I think, one that is richer for having it be your particular interpretation of, was that something that Kepler was doing to solidify a relationship, or was it something that was something that, like, really went on as their relationship continued? And is
Yeah.
it something that, like, he sees as worth doing with Maxwell or not?
Yeah, that's a question. Whether she sort of requires the same attention, I suppose,
Yeah.
or you know, to
Because
be paid.
it's, I think, pretty inarguable that Maxwell had a much more utilitarian relationship with the job than Jacoby does.
Yes,
Um,
and her relationship with Kepler is interesting because it certainly isn't as chummy. The power dynamic is more prevalent with
Yeah.
Right.
them.
How long was Maxwell even with SI5 again?
couple of years, I think.
Couple
about
years.
2 or 3.
Are we
Yeah,
ever
like
gonna see-
3 years or something.
Nice. Are we ever going to see character cards for the remaining characters?
Probably not. No.
Probably not.
Cool. These are some rapid fire ones. What do I have to give to read Kepler's bio? I'm willing to offer my soul. I ain't using it.
You will have to tear it out of my cold dead hands. Like, you will have to kill me.
All right. If I ran
Don't
into
kill me, please.
an alien doppelganger of me, how would I react? I would very likely high five and give it a hug, and I will stop rubbing my teeth when you pry it out of my gold dead fingers. You're
Okay.
probably right though. But you're not the boss of me now. It's very sweet of you to worry about my teeth. My mother gives you a high five through the internet without even knowing. That's just how moms do. All right. Second to last question.
Wow.
Second to last question.
Yes.
How do
Yes.
you think the story would develop if the characters that are currently dead didn't die? What would be different?
Well, those people would still be alive, that's for
They
sure.
would still be alive. I don't. I mean,
Well, I mean, so
Some-
here's the thing. Those people dying was a direct result of the pressures that the story put on the characters.
yes.
It's not like it was something that, like, those characters died so that the story could go somewhere. It is that the story took us to a place where it became, unfortunately, necessary for those people to die.
Yes.
That either
yes.
those people would die or the people who are alive would be dead. Like, those are your binary choices, I think.
In many ways, yes.
Yes.
And also kind of like the situation would have to have been so different before. Like, the ripple point isn't those characters dying. The ripple point is who
Much,
they
much
are and
earlier.
coming together and just like everything.
Yeah.
And so you would really need to have a show that was fundamentally different from season 1 to not have the deaths that happened later in the show.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure that there's kind of like an easy way to answer that other than it would be a fundamentally different show.
Please don't kill Gabrielle for this bio.
It's really not worth it.
Really not.
It's really not.
It's not worth it. Also, you'll never
And
get
it's-
it out of his hard drive.
It's true.
And there's a tendency to like think when we say that something's not worth it or something's just for us that it's like super cool and special. A lot of these things are just the scratch. They're
Yeah,
not
they're-
interesting. There's a reason we don't want them to be public, and that's because they're where we make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally not because we didn't write it and there's nothing to see. That can't be it. Moving on.
Wait,
That
what?
isn't it.
That's
That
really
isn't
not
it.
it, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Right. It's not it at all.
I have no idea why he's doing this. This is a thing that exists.
Some people just want to watch the world burn. Sorry. Last question.
Are you okay there?
No, he's really not.
I leave you alone for 2 hours.
Oh boy. Whew. Oh, did Cutter have any children we don't know about? Would he have wanted children to continue in his work in case he couldn't?
See, this is like that this now we're getting into like Ultron territory.
Yeah.
Of, you know, it's that thing of having children is on a fundamental biological level, even if it's purely on a non-conscious cellular level, admitting biologically that you are going to die and that you sort of like require a receptacle for yourself to live on through another organism, because your organism is sooner or later going to go away. I think that is just so anathema to who Kepler is. I'm sorry, to who Cutter is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think that he has any children. I think that he would have just, at the very least, not any children that he's in any meaningful way involved in.
No.
And it is, yeah, no, he was, you know, it's that thing of like, I don't want to live forever through my children. I want to live forever through not dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I don't see him being in any way kind of meaningfully involved with children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they could produce some kind of serum based on
Uh-huh.
children to keep him younger.
Right, if he had to
Right.
Peter
cannibalize his own children, Jesus.
There's a startup dude
Lord.
who has a startup called Ambrosia, which is literally about taking the blood from younger men to feed to older men. To keep
And I
them
remember,
alive
and
for
I
longer.
remember when like Zach told me about it, he was like horrified. And I was like, "Does it work?"
Yeah, I'm like, the dude's a vampire. We can't trust him. And you're like, but
I mean, like, I hear that, and
Results?
yeah,
yeah, that's in the startup context. It's funny. It's like, yeah, man, that's kind of a tale as old as time. People do all sorts of kooky things to try and keep themselves going.
Yeah.
right. Okay. Before
So on
we
that
say
fun
goodbye,
note,
before we say goodbye, there was a question about the DSS PPM and how we're doing on that.
Yes.
It's
coming.
Coming.
It is
Yep.
now sort of moving into like the forefront of our to-do list. Now that
Yes.
we've done a little bit of like admin housekeeping work.
Yes.
and also like a vacation.
Yes. I remain sort of on the my stance continues to be, we will tell you when it's ready. Don't be like refreshing the website's news section. Because it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And I say a little bit of time because I honestly don't know how long it's going to be.
Right.
It is
'Cause
still
it's
in
not
the
just the writing. There's also the like page design,
formatting.
which we've never done before. This is just like a lot of firsts.
It's a new beast for all of us.
and we're
And
really
we're excited.
excited about it.
Yeah.
Yes, we're psyched.
And so should you.
So
but-
should all of
right.
you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming. Don't stay awake for it.
Yeah.
We will shout it from the rooftops when it's ready. We're really excited to make this thing.
And it will be worth it when it comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the last thing that I want to say is thank you guys so much for sticking with us
Yes.
through the end of the show. If the new video on Patreon didn't make it clear, this is the time that we're using to like not just pay the expenses of the show, but actually like pay the people that have made the show. And it is just so heartening. Like we never expected the show to get this big, and we certainly never expected this many of you to hang out
Yeah.
Yeah.
after we wrapped. And when I say like every dollar makes a difference, I mean it. Every dollar really makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And it more than dollars and cents is just really special to keep getting to hang out with you guys,
Oh,
That's
yes.
true.
especially
Yeah.
as we're sort of figuring out what is capital N next. It's really fun to get to regroup with all of y'all and
Oh,
hang
yes.
hang
Yeah.
out.
It's the coolest.
And we can't wait for next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on that note,
I gotta find
Yeah,
that button.
thank you guys.
You know who didn't need to find a button and seemed to just be like right on top of it? The other Zach. So
All right.
The doppelganger, Zach.
bye guys. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
right.